I think my wife cheated on me, but I have no proof. Story 1. Married less than a year, both in our mid-20s. She gets concert tickets for Christmas. Naturally, I assume I'm going with her. Nope. She wants to take someone from work because he is supposedly a huge fan of the band. She also tells me he's gay. I am upset, but I decide not to start a fight about it. She goes to the concert and they wait outside near the band bus after the show is over. The bassist from the band starts to talk to her, and she flirts with him. He asks if she is going to their New Year's Eve show, 200 miles away. She says no because she can't afford it. He said he'll comp her tickets if she comes. She says she won't go alone. He says she can bring her friend. Now our New Year's Eve plans are ruined, because there's no way I can go too. She had joked before about having to sleep with the bassist for these tickets and VIP access. I did not find it funny, so she played it off. In the end, this is her favorite band, and I don't want her holding this over my head for the rest of our lives, so I let her make the decision herself. She decides to go with her friend from work who she now says she's only 80% sure he's gay. WTF? She texts me on the long drive there. Then when she gets the tickets, then nothing. I text her at midnight, she gives me a 3-word response. I don't hear from her again. I call her at 11:30 the next morning, and she says she is waiting at the subway station to go back to her hotel. She eventually gets home around 4:30 p.m. I ask her how it went. She says they partied all night, she took prescription drugs and drank a lot. She said she was pissed she paid for a hotel when she only slept in it for 2 hours. I asked how that was possible when she was at the subway at 11:30 a.m. She admits that she didn't use the hotel room at all, and that she must have slept in the band suite. What? She blames her amnesia on a hangover. Fast forward a day or so. She gets out of the shower. I notice she shaved her pubes. I ask her when she did it. She says Friday. Here's the thing. My wife never shaves her pubes. When she does, it's a present for me. She left for work and I found a package of Summer's Eve feminine wipes in her overnight bag. Here's the other thing, I've always secretly thought she's had an odor problem, but she's certainly never done anything about it for me. This was a brand new pack, why did she have them? So what do you think? Is she cheating? With the bassist, or the guy from work? Should I confront her about it? I think I should clarify that she got the concert tickets as a Christmas gift, but the concert was not on Christmas. The first concert was on December 30th. The second was December 31st. I'm trying to avoid keywords that might lead her to this thread, so I won't name the band. It's not Nickelback and it's definitely not Fish. She'll be home soon. Wish me luck. Update, I sat her down last night for a talk. I asked her to walk me through the night so I could better understand the details. They had tickets waiting at Will Call, and were able to stand in the VIP section for the concert. The bar was open until about 2 o'clock, at which point they were invited to the band suite. The hotel gave her free pajamas, so she wasn't wearing her dress when she went up there. It was a pretty large party, with the bassist, guitarist, cellist from the opening band, and the entire road crew. She said her friend from work was hovering around her all night, to the point of being annoying. She said she fell asleep on the floor of the living room, as did a dozen other people. Her coworker woke her up around 11 and they went to the subway. I asked her why she shaved. She said she doesn't know. What if I ended up going swimming? She said. Did you bring a bathing suit? I asked. No. Not to mention the fact that my wife can't swim. She'll drown in 6 feet of water with nothing to hold on to. We enjoy hot tubs, though I still wouldn't have been comfortable with her in a hot tub full of strangers. I asked her about the Summer's Eve cleansing cloths. She admitted they were for feminine odor, but said she bought them during our last Walmart shopping trip, which was the day after Christmas. If that's true, she couldn't have known she was sleeping out without me on Nye. She said she didn't even open them. When I checked the package again, I was positive it was unopened. I asked her to look me in the eyes and swear that there was no kissing, cuddling, or time-ool contact of any kind. She did so, repeating those exact words. I also told her how hurt I was about the whole situation. I told her that if she has tickets to something, and I want to go, she is obligated to take me no matter what. If she isn't ready to make that call, then she wasn't ready for marriage. She was very resistant and used a lot of hyperbole in the conversation. You always this, I never that. The most hurtful thing she said to me was that if I was able to go on nigh, she thinks she wouldn't have had as much fun. I told her that's a fundamental blow to our relationship that should call our marriage into question. She said I was being ridiculous, so I'm pretty much right back where I started. Still not sure if she cheated. It's possible she lied. I have no way of knowing. She's acting pretty much normal at home, as if nothing happened. Still don't know what to do. I'm going to leave this up for another day or so, then take it down so she doesn't see it. Suggestions other than dump that lying cheating whore would be appreciated. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, here's my reaction. If I had awesome night tickets from my favorite band, I'd want the person I cared for most to be there right next to me the whole time, having the time of our lives. Then I would want them right there partying with me and having a blast. Take that how you will. Redditor 2, even if she didn't cheat, your marriage is in big trouble. Your wife has no respect for your feelings. She doesn't mind upsetting you. She expects you to be there for her, but she doesn't feel the need to do the same. Now it's gotten so bad that you're unable to trust her and she's ignoring you on holidays. You two need to have a serious talk about how you view your roles as partners. Some counseling might be in order. Redditor 3, regardless of whether she actually cheated on you or not, her behavior, at least in the way you describe it, is inexcusable for a married woman. Although I'm a bit of a conservative around these parts, there's no ducking way I would accept letting my wife stay out all night partying and doing drugs with strange men. That's not marriage material, sorry to say. That's what single party girls do. If this is something that you both do and it's some kind of open arrangement, then I eat my words. But something tells me this isn't. This is unacceptable behavior on her part. No way it can be spun otherwise. You need to calmly confront her that this is not acceptable to you, and if this is what she thinks marriage should be, you should end it now while the marriage ink is still wet. Story 2. Worst way to catch a cheating wife. This will be long as it happened a few years ago, and I just finally felt like sharing it after reading many stories and experiences here. It's my hope my story will help someone else survive cheating. I was married nearly 20 years to my ex-wife. I was a professional firefighter before we met. I began my career when I graduated high school at 17 and enrolled in fire academy with a parent waiver. I'm a fourth-generation fireman, and throughout our marriage, working my way as high as battalion chief before requesting demotion back to rescue captain of my department's rescue squad, since that was where all my certifications etc. were in. Once Christmas Eve we received a call for a structure fire at an apartment building. When we got on scene there was 18 residents unaccounted for. We began rescue ops, and in one unit I found a young husband and wife, got them out, and as a tender changed my air bottle, the young woman sitting with medics began screaming, my baby, my baby." I ran up to her and asked her, "Ma'am, what kind of baby? Am I looking for dog, cat, human, or what?" All she said was "my baby" over and over, so I ran back in. A short time later I emerged with an infant. As I made my way out, something inside the building blew, sending debris everywhere. I was hit in the back by a piece of wood like a giant splinter. I somehow still made it to the triage area, handed off the baby, and collapsed. That was when the splinter was found sticking out of me. I was helicoptered to a trauma center. While on the way I passed away twice and revived. I was taken in for emergency surgery. The splinter had nicked my heart and I was dying. My wife was called by my crew and told of what happened, and she told my crew that she was not coming. She had better things to do than to worry about my ploy for her attention and how I was using my job to try and get into her panties. I was in the hospital for 30 days as they would not release me until they were sure I was healed enough to return home, in a very rural area about 60 miles from where I worked, in a real hospital. When I was released I tried to get my wife to pick me up. She told me she didn't have time to make that drive. I had to beg for a ride home, and when I finally found one through one of my crewmates, he accompanied me into my house, making sure I was okay and not alone. We walked through my home looking for my wife since her minivan was in the driveway. When I opened our bedroom door I collapsed to my knees as my crew man came up behind me and shouted, "WTF are you doing?" We opened my bedroom door to find my wife in bed. She had a man under her in her kitty, another behind her in her BTT, and a third in her mouth. At first, the thing that hit me most was the one in her BTT and mouth, things she never did with me and that I had never tried at all, claiming I was too big and would gag her or hurt her. My friend helped me up, he took me out, then went in and gathered me some clothes to take. He took me to another friend's home where we explained what had transpired. Later on, the friend with me when I caught her told me when he went in to get things for me, the ex and her boy toys never stopped what they were doing and he took cell phone video without them noticing. A few days later, my friends helped me find a lawyer and started the divorce process. Luckily, our kids were already adults now, so we didn't have that battle in divorce to put our kids through, because in court I learned that everyone in our friends group was getting some of my wife except me. She openly admitted to doing every man in town to the judge and how I was nothing but a paycheck and how she always hoped I'd die in the line of duty and she'd get that $1 million life insurance we had if I was killed on the job. When we met and throughout life, she was always sweet and naive. She was a little slow in many things, but when her mom lost everything and moved in with us for a while, that's when my wife began to change. Her mom didn't live in the same house the entire time, as we bought a small building and turned it into a little cottage on the back end of our property so we could have her privacy. Once I moved her mom out back is when I noticed the changes in her. It was hard for me to notice red flags, etc., as I was the only one working and I would work 48 on and 24 off. The normal is 24 on 48 off, but because she refused to work, I had to work double and even at times a second job to support 5 of us by myself. Wife, 2 kids, Mill and myself. Since catching her, the home has been sold and everything split that was mutual property, divided, sold and split, etc. My crew rallied around me, being there to help me when needed as well as to help me try to fight my way back to duty status, as well as be there when I need someone to talk to and so on. Most of these men and women on my crew lived in the city we worked in, so it was an hour drive at least each way to assist me. I worked my ass off to get my career back. I wanted to hit the 35 years of service mark, then retire. When it came time to do my physical, etc., to return to duty, I passed but was subsequently called into the chief's office where I was told, "Captain, you have 2 choices. 1, you can retire now at 30 years and keep your full pension and benefits, or 2, we will medically retire you and you get half!" I stuttered, but I passed my return to duty tests. The answer I received was, "Captain, you are one of not the best fire rescue specialist I have ever known, but your age, your injury history, and your recent diagnosis of PTSD coupled with bipolar, the insurance company will no longer cover you due to high risk. So do you have a decision?" I retired and left heartbroken and defeated. When my now ex-wife found out, she began tormenting me over it all, trying to drive me to suicide is my guess, but instead of letting her win, I left the area, began working in animal rescue to help pass time. It was the lowest point of my life. Living in an RV trailer running an animal rescue, and no one would give me a job. Sure, I didn't need to work, but I needed something to do. I swore off women except for my sister firefighter. I didn't socialize or date, etc. for a long time. I thought I would never be in a relationship again. I didn't know if I could ever trust anyone ever again. Then it happened. I began playing what I guess you would call once of those morp games where I met a woman. We would chat, eventually exchanged numbers, etc. Then 18 months later she decided she wanted to meet me, telling me, "No way, you're a perv or anything, because no one is going to invest this long to pick a target." This made me laugh harder than I ever had in my life. I'll be honest, I was reluctant at first because we had a 20-year age gap. Plus we were different races. Where I live, interracial relationships are still shunned. Yes, it's Redneckville, USA, and basically still the Stone Age in many ways here, but I agreed to meet her. I can say it was the best decision of my life. She was everything I could dream of and more. She was old-fashioned like me. She was raised and believed a woman's one job was her spouse and family, not money and a career. I have no problem with a working woman, but regardless, man or woman, family should always come before career or anything else. I guess it's kind of ironic in some way. I lost my dad to the Vietnam War, and here I am now married to a Vietnamese woman, expecting our first child November of 2021. Cheating is horrible and maybe the worst thing we can go through. But please remember, it is not the end of the world. Nor are all men or women the same as your cheating spouse. The keys are: make time for you, get help, and find yourself again. Take you time and remember something better is out there looking for you too. Suicide is never an answer. Giving up should not be an option. You are strong, you can do it, a life can be rebuilt and become a newer, better one. Remember, life and love will always find a way.